Well, dear, I guess it's time we go back to Gettysburg.
Okay, I could do that.
Hello there, parapeeps, and welcome to another episode of our Haunted Travels. I am your host, Sean Donnelly.
I'm your co-host, Mary Ann Donnelly.
So, we are back in Gettysburg. We have several videos about Gettysburg, but we're going to try to do some stuff we haven't done before on this trip.
Yeah.
I don't know how this video is actually going to play out. Normally I have it scripted and we go to a location. We have a format that we follow, but we're just running around getting different clips. So you may see us pop in from time to time with different clothes on. I might say the dates from time to time because I don't know how I'm going to edit this together. But this is Memorial Day weekend 2023. Got a lot of stuff going on. We've already done a lot of recording, different little clips, not enough for like a full video. So we'll throw it all together and see how it turns out. All right?
All right.
So sit back and
Enjoy.
enjoy.
Now, we have a couple of places that we've stayed in Gettysburg, obviously, through the years. One place that we really like staying is the 1863 Inn, and we stayed here again this time. It has a really great breakfast, and it's got a central location that I can just walk anywhere, really, that I want to in the entire town. So it's a really great location. The rooms are nice, and like I said, breakfast is amazing. Now, we've been to Gettysburg many times, and even during the anniversary of the battle, and we have never seen the garbage piled up like this like we did for Memorial Day. Either that or I just managed to get Sean up super early before the garbage man came along and collected the debris.
Okay, so this is May 27th, 2023. We're at one of the forgotten cemeteries in Gettysburg, which is the Alms House Cemetery. I think we've done a video on it. If not, we have footage from here that we'll eventually do a video from here. But so on this trip, we are here for Memorial Day and paying our respects, and this is one of the cemeteries where we thought it was prudent that we stop by and pay our regards. As you see, there's some flags here, so we got some veterans in this cemetery as well. So let's go on to the next stop. Okay, so over in the distance, about center camera, that's the Peace Light Memorial. It's up on the hill over there, and then panning that way, McPherson's barn would be about center camera there. The railroad cut would be about where that group of trees are in the center camera. And then keep panning, you can see the steeple off in the distance of Seminary Ridge, car coming by. And then that big building right there in the center camera, we'll have some footage from there. That's the new museum. That kind of tells you in relationship as to where this cemetery is located. our photo collection. I don't think we have enough digital photos. I think the goal is to break 1.2 million sometime this year. Hi, dear.
You're making fun of me here.
No. No, never.
So this cannon seems to be authentic. If you read on the edges, it kind of gives information. So this is number 227 from the H&H and Company, and it is a 1225 pounder, and it was July something 1863.
So that was the date it was casted, maybe?
I can't remember if it's casted or just that they marked it that it was used that date too, but this is the casting information.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's how you can find out if the cannons are authentic or if they are replicas when they're on the battlefield.
You have way too much information in your brain. Just saying.
Okay. So just a real quick snippet on the H&H and Company. It's really the Henry Northey Hooper and Company. They were a prominent 19th century American manufacturer and merchant of decorative lighting, Civil War artillery, and bells and chimes. Hooper was actually an apprentice of Paul Revere at the Boston foundry that Paul Revere owned. Later, he purchased the foundry and established Henry N. Hooper and Company. And again, they produced lamps and lighting fixtures and bells, but by 1862, they started producing artillery for the Union Army.
We weren't going to do audio. We just come out to get some B-roll, but there's an interesting story on this plaque up here. Excuse the ruffling as I put my mic on, but I'll go read the plaque.
Sure. July 1 in the afternoon, a father's loss. Here on Barlow's Knoll, Lieutenant Bayard Wilkeson, 19, directed Battery G, 4th U.S. Artillery from horseback. While dueling with Confederate batteries, an enemy shell mangled his right leg. According to one legend, he bound his leg and amputated it with a pocket knife as a shot fell around him. He died that night at a makeshift hospital. Samuel Wilkeson, Bayard's father, a correspondent for the New York Times, was traveling to Gettysburg when he heard his son had been wounded. On July 4, he located his son's body and penned a piece which appeared on the front page of the Times. "My pen is heavy," he wrote, addressing those who had given the ultimate sacrifice. O you dead, who at Gettysburg have baptized with your blood the second birth of freedom in America.
So that's the father right here.
Yes, and it says he desperately searched many shallow graves before finally discovering the body of his son.
So that would have been, well, shallow graves. They would have buried him around here somewhere. Correct?
Yeah, usually they buried them pretty much where they fell.
So over there's where we just came from. It's the
Alms House Cemetery.
Alms House Cemetery, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we weren't going to do audio. We were just trying to get some B-roll, and I don't think I've ever read that placard before.
No, I haven't either. We've been up here several times to see the cemetery, but rarely do we actually walk up here to the cannons. Which it seems that all 4 of these cannons are authentic, not replicas. They all have markings on them that indicate when and where they were made. Most of them are 1862. One of them on the end is 1863. So they're all pretty old and authentic. This one here is number 37, made in 1862. GTB is the marking on that one. This one here is number 36 by the H&H and Company. And this one here was in 1862 as well. So, let's see those markings indicating such.
Yeah, we don't have a hitch on the back of the car. Do you think they'd catch us?
I think they would notice. I think they would notice.
I think it'd be noticeable driving through downtown Gettysburg with the cannon hooked up to the back.
Agreed.
Just a joke. Anybody listening? This is a joke. Just joking. It's entertainment. All right, let's get going.
Okay.
How many times have we been to Gettysburg, man?
Oh, it's hard to count now. A
yeah,
lot.
But we've never stopped here. We drove by it how many times?
Right, because there was not a parking availability before. They put this parking lot in this year, so now we can stop.
All right, so what do we got here?
Well, this is the first shot marker. So here at the Ephraim Weisler House, troopers of the 8th Illinois Cavalry established an advanced picket post. Their mission was to guard the Chambersburg Pike and alert Union General John Buford's Cavalry Division, 1 mile behind you, of any enemy movement toward Gettysburg. At 7:30 a.m., advancing Confederates were sighted crossing Marsh Creek 1/2 mile to your front. Union Lieutenant Marcellus Jones rested a carbine on a nearby fence post and pulled the trigger. Jones's shot was likely the first shot fired during the Battle of Gettysburg. Over the next 2 days, an estimated 7 million bullets were fired, causing more than 51,000 casualties and forever changing the nation.
new experiences in Gettysburg, because we got another one here.
I know, we've never been here either.
I don't know how these videos are going to come out. I never do. It always happens like when we go to edit, but this one's kind of cool. Where are we at? Spangler Farm.
Yes,
There's some reenactments going on.
It's exciting.
Let's go check it out.
All right. Now this is the Spangler Farm. It is a more recent acquisition, and so it hasn't been open to the public very often, although that is a changing. But this is the location where both General Armistead and Private George Nixon died. Now the Nixon involved here is George Nixon. He was the great-grandfather of our 37th President, Richard Nixon. He was wounded in battle on July 2nd near what is currently the Gettysburg Hospital, strangely enough. But he was wounded and brought here to the Spangler Farm, where he died a few days later on July 10th. He is buried in the National Cemetery in the Ohio plot, as he was part of one of our Ohio regiments. General Armistead died in the summer kitchen. Well, it was called a kitchen, and they believe it was the summer kitchen. He had 2 wounds, one to his arm and one to his leg, but neither wound was considered mortal, though on July 5th he did die here. He was a Confederate, so he is not buried in the National Cemetery. Instead, he's buried in Baltimore. my family might think, did Mary Ann accidentally take pictures of the ground as she was walking around? But no, in fact, I did that on purpose. These floorboards were actually the original floorboards that were there in this barn while it was being used as a field hospital back in 1863. So these floorboards were likely soaked with the blood of the many soldiers who were treated or died here.
She started dressing and acting, like a boy when at the age of 5 when her mother died, and her stepfather was like, "You need to make money," so dressed as a boy to go make money.
Alright, you ready to play? Yeah. Alright. Rock, paper, scissors.
The people who lived at that house, their son helped finish Jenny Wade's coffin.
Oh, okay to know.
Yeah.
Okay, you gonna read it?
Near this spot, on July 1, 1863, a Union soldier fell mortally wounded. When local resident found the unidentified body, he also discovered a photograph of 3 children. News of this poignant find was soon widely covered by the press, and copies of the photograph were distributed and sold for charity. One of these reached Mrs. Philinda Humiston of Portville, New York, who now realized that her husband, Sergeant Amos Humiston of Company C, 154th New York Volunteers, had been killed. The plight of the Humiston children, Frank, Frederick, and Alice, touched the outpouring of sympathy and donations from throughout the North, leading to the establishment of a soldiers' orphans' home in Gettysburg in 1866. Sergeant Humiston's body was removed from here to the Gettysburg National Cemetery.
Which we have a shot. You found his grave. So we are in the parking lot of Gettysburg Fire Station. That's where that marker is. The evil shop over there. The one that has so much of my retirement money.
I know those of you who follow along with us are sitting here saying, that's Sachs Bridge. You guys have been there before. Yes, this is not a new place for us, but we do pay a visit every time we visit Gettysburg. We have many other videos on it. But last summer, for the first time, we went back behind this Sachs Bridge on the trail. And this here was supposedly a field hospital for the Confederates as they were exiting Gettysburg. There is the claim that this water here ran red with blood during that time. And for some reason, this just is a place that we really like coming to. It's nice and quiet for the most part, and you really get to take your time and look around. Well, this is the Trostle farm. It is most well known for its big giant gaping hole in the barn that was left there by a cannonball during the war. But it was also General Daniel Sickles' headquarters during the war. And he was the 3rd Union Corps leader, and he was wounded here with a 12-pound cannonball that hit his right leg. And we'll have some other stories about Daniel Sickles at some other time. There are a lot of stories about Daniel Sickles, I can tell you.
There's another thing that we've never done in Gettysburg. We've seen this several times, but never walked back here. Or have you?
No, not that I remember.
Yeah, it's definitely a horse trail.
On this year's journey, we also took a little bit of time and went down this trail that we've always wanted to know what it went to. Turned out it was the Spangler House, and since this is privately owned, we couldn't go inside, but hey, we know what's down at the end of that trail now.
Strange. That must be owned by the park. Maybe that's why I said private residence.
Well, usually private residence is not owned by the park, but that might be why that park sign was there at the edge where the fence met.
Yeah.
Then,
I don't know. Kind of cool. I always wondered what was at the end of that, where that sign was.
yeah.
Now we know.
This segment is about Basil Biggs. He was one of the prominent black individuals in Gettysburg during the time of the war and afterwards throughout the remainder of his life. Basil Biggs, we went and we found his final home and also his final resting place, his grave. So Basil Biggs was a veterinarian. He was in Gettysburg for a few years before the battle, and he ended up, after the battle was over, being one of the individuals who was tasked with the removal and disinterment of the Union dead and moving their bodies over to the National Cemetery. So he was paid $1.25 per body that was disinterred. He cataloged it all, and you can actually see part of his log. I believe it is currently in the visitor center. But you can see information about him there and at the Wills house. But he ended up making enough to buy his own farm, and eventually he helped build the group, the Sons of Goodwill, who ended up being responsible for the creation of the Lincoln Cemetery for Black individuals in Gettysburg. And he ends up being buried there as well. And so this year we did find his grave. I kind of had an idea about where it was. I looked in some of our old pictures and I had kind of narrowed it down. And this year I was able to find it specifically. And his family ended up being pretty important as well. When Abraham Lincoln came to town to do the Gettysburg Address, his daughter Cecilia shook his hand. Now, she eventually married Frank Penn, who became the very first Black battlefield guide for Gettysburg, and eventually Cecilia's daughter ended up becoming the first woman of color to run for Pennsylvania state office, and was one of the very important figures in the Women's Christian Temperance Union. But this house here, it was found out a couple of years ago that this was in fact his final home. And there's pictures that you can see, a family portrait and everything of them outside in the side yard of this home, which is really cool. And he has become one of the characters that you could be in the train station's virtual experience activity as well. This year, when we went to visit the Virginia Monument, we decided to take the walk out on the trail all the way back and see where it was that the Confederates were charging to the high water mark and the angle. So we were looking at it from the Confederate side this time versus the Union side. And walking down this path, we were able to see the vast, wide open spaces that they had to run across. And you may even notice that I'm slightly allergic to Gettysburg in the spring. My nose was sure running walking out on all those paths.
I think it's over there. It's either over there or over there. But I thought it was before the monument. Another new. I gotta get a picture of you blowing your nose.
Oh, thanks.
There's some good video right here. Nah, I won't. I'll be nice.
All right, well, hope you recorded that. I'm being turned. Where are we going? The sun.
Some
It's
Gettysburg fencing. There
the
you go.
background's blurred, dear.
Oh, well, it's okay.
It's okay. There's some fencing back there. Maybe it's blurry.
All right, go ahead.
Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know how soon we're going to get back into one a week. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Our schedule's still kind of horrible. Thanks to we won't say the word, but we're trying. We're trying to just get back into some sort of life that we can enjoy. And we're getting there. Slow but sure. We'll put them out as we make them. So until next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting.
Let us know if you like this video by hitting that thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more videos from us in the future, support our channel by hitting that subscribe button and dinging that bell so you get notified the next time there's a video from Panic D Videos.
Thanks for watching.
Happy hunting!